Ahead on 12 News, hang on tight. The icy conditions causing a thin glaze of problems, especially for seniors. Plus, awaiting approval. Why some Brooklyn Park Council members aren't happy with plans to redo a Menards store. But first, a Maple Grove Council member charged. A lengthy investigation that turns into accusations of stealing and perjury. 12 News starts right now. A Maple Grove City Councilwoman has been charged with stealing tens of thousands of dollars from her own father.
Leanne Sargent is charged with financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult and 2 counts of perjury. Renee Bonneau joins us now with more on this story. Renee?
Mike and Alex, Sargent had power of attorney over the finances of her father, Robert Bobletter, in the last 4 years of his life. Court documents show she received more than $200,000 from her father's accounts from 2009 through March of 2012. She's also accused of lying about the amount of money she received when she and her husband filed for bankruptcy in 2011. The criminal complaint states Sargent paid herself above and beyond what she and her father agreed upon, using the money on purses, trips to the spa, and to pay her credit card bills.
This is disturbing. Not only is this an exploitation of a vulnerable adult, it's the exploitation of her father. And that violates kind of every rule of decency that we know.
I spoke with Sargent by phone this afternoon. She said she was not aware of the charges and had no idea they were coming. As for allegations she stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from her father's accounts, she said, quote, "I'm saying that my dad gave me the money through the trust, through documents, to cover his rent and medical bills. When I questioned the large amounts of money taken out, she said, quote, a nursing home would have been $12,000 to $16,000 a month because he is in hospice. When I asked her about charges for purchases to a handbag store and spas, she said she was purchasing gift cards and presents for her relatives under her father's direction and told me none of the purchases were for her. She told me her father was aware of every transaction she made with his money, saying he was, quote, sharp as a tack. According to court documents, one doctor noted in 2010 that Sargent's father was showing signs of memory loss and confusion. In March of 2012, a social worker indicated he was at times hallucinating and had a look as if he was not there. Mike and Alex.
All right, thank you very much, Renee. No approval yet. The city of Brooklyn Park has decided to table a proposal for a new mega Menards store. Menards wants to tear down the current store on Lakeland Avenue and build a new one that would be twice the size. But to make that happen, the city would have to bend significantly on its building codes. Some council members feel that would set a bad precedent. The question remains, though, whether Menards will compromise.
The Planning Commission has worked very, very hard to set these standards. And I felt like we just gave away the store.
I can come in once a week for the next 2 years, and unless you guys get your citizens to shop at the store more, probably not a lot more compromises we're willing to make.
The new store would look similar to the one in Golden Valley. One of the chief complaints from the Brooklyn Park City Council is concern about the quality of materials Menards plans to use for the front of the store. If it does get built, the bigger store is expected to bring 100 new jobs to Brooklyn Park.
Maple Grove's largest employer, Boston Scientific, has announced plans to cut up to 1,000 jobs worldwide. It's unclear yet how many of those cuts would impact the Twin Cities. The announcement comes as the medical device company reported a decrease in profits. Boston Scientific employs about 24,000 people globally. That includes about 3,000 people at its facilities in Maple Grove and in Plymouth.
If you think traffic on Highway 694 is bad now, wait until this summer. MnDOT plans to repair a more than 5-mile stretch of I-694 between Brooklyn Center and Arden Hills. It's a $21 million project that includes concrete repair, resurfacing, and replacing 3 bridge decks at Highway 252. Work is scheduled to begin in June. When that happens, the freeway will be reduced to 2 lanes in each direction. The project was actually moved up 4 years because federal funding recently became available.
Osseo's water tower no longer has function and it would be costly to fix, but how do residents feel about it? The city of Osseo plans to hold a public forum to decide the future fate of its 98-year-old water tower by City Hall. The cost to repaint and maintain the tower just for looks for the next 50 years would be at least $500,000.
But I think it would be important for us to really get this out to the public and see what they have to say. If nobody cares if it's here, and then we just tear the thing down. If people care that it's here and they want to keep it as a historical, not a landmark, we're not going to certify it as such, but we need to look at that.
If the city does decide to remove the tower, that would cost $80,000. A city with a historical water tower that no longer functions is not without precedence in the Northwest Metro. There is one in Brooklyn Center by the Earl Brown Heritage Center.
A Maple Grove Park building is undergoing an extreme makeover, and it's all being done for free.
Good job.
The building in Eagle Lake Park dates back to the 1970s, and so does everything inside. The meeting room and kitchen are popular places for summer events. The city chose it for a free makeover being offered by the local Home Depot store. It includes new countertops, flooring, paint, even a new oven in the kitchen.
This was kind of lower on their project list, and so we just kind of stepped in and had some volunteers and resources that we could throw at it. It's roughly 40 years old. It's a Maple Grove City community building. The only thing that they've done since it's been built has been retouching up the ceiling with ceiling paint.
The Home Depot workers are volunteering their time, and the company is kicking in $4,000 for materials and supplies. Proceed with caution. That's the message for the next 24 hours as freezing temperatures combine with wet conditions.
Icy conditions early Tuesday caught many by surprise and landed hundreds of people in area emergency rooms.
It's real bad. It's real slippery.
A glaze of ice coating sidewalks and streets turned treacherous Tuesday for drivers unable to stop and pedestrians just trying to stay upright.
It's really slippery, and there was a lot of water everywhere. It's slippery out here.
Yes, it's scary. I don't want to fall and break anything.
90-year-old Charlotte Lourdes needed an arm to hold on to so she wouldn't fall.
Well, I got an ice rink right here, yeah.
Is your motion okay in the arms?
63-year-old Linda Abbott wasn't so lucky on her walk to work.
I hit an icy sidewalk, fell on my back, and my head snapped back.
By early afternoon, North Memorial in Robbinsdale reported 50 patients with injuries due to the ice. At Hennepin County Medical Center in downtown Minneapolis, the emergency department treated between 20 and 30 patients for falls, and at least half of those cases involved serious injury.
We are seeing a lot of people who are falling, slipping, and most importantly and concerning is that they're slipping and hitting their head and hitting it hard.
It happens so quickly.
Awaiting x-ray results, Linda Abbott just hopes the effects of her fall don't turn out to be too serious.
No matter how careful you try to be, you can't avoid accidents like this.
We've seen multiple people that can barely kind of get out of their cart because they're hurting so much.
HCMC emergency medicine physician William Heegard says it's seniors who are most vulnerable to serious injury.
They're not able to judge the risk, and also they're not able to react as quickly, and they're the people that are at highest risk for head injuries.
Proceed with caution is the message for all, though, as freezing temperatures threaten again Wednesday. In Brooklyn Park, police report 26 car accidents Tuesday morning. The city also pulled its recycling trucks off the road as a safety precaution, and as a result, recycling collection in Brooklyn Park will be a day late for the rest of the week. In sickness and in health, what natural remedies are the best to combat the cold?
The HCMC clinic in Brooklyn Park has some answers coming up. And then later in sports, Cooper's girls basketball team is hoping to accomplish a first for the program.
But first, it's a look at your AccuWeather forecast.
The chances are that you or someone you know has suffered from coughing, aching, sneezing, runny nose, sore throat, or fever this winter.
Even right here. They are all symptoms, of course, generally associated with the flu or the common cold. And when it comes to treating those symptoms, it's common for people to turn to natural remedies. But how effective are those products? Delane Cleveland takes a look in today's Health Check.
HCMC's Brooklyn Park Clinic is a busy place this time of year.
We've seen a lot of increase in visits due to cough and cold symptoms and influenza-like
symptoms with patients.
Such is life in the medical world during cold and flu season.
Very typical for this time of year.
Yet before people make their way to the doctor's office, conventional wisdom and marketing techniques suggest that a natural remedy may cure what ails you. However, clinical pharmacist Kristen Fisher says it's not always that cut and dry.
No, it isn't. Never.
We picked up several popular products to see if they really can provide people with the relief they need. First up, vitamin D.
Right now, our biggest recommendation for vitamin D is in conjunction with calcium for bone support. So we're not seeing a lot of recommendations for prevention of the common cold.
Next on the list, vitamin C.
There are a few studies, very small, that show there may be a shortened duration. The jury's still out kind of on the prevention.
Another popular remedy is tea.
Tea may be soothing for a sore throat. We worry with green tea, too much of it can elevate blood pressure.
Fisher's advice with tea is to check with your pharmacist first. Next up, zinc lozenges.
There's a lot of zinc products available, and again, we're not quite sure if they do reduce the duration of the cold.
What about the use of a nasal wash device?
Nasal wash is great. A lot of people suffer from nasal congestion, and the neti pot that you have here is a great product.
A probiotic supplement is another product people turn to.
I can't say that it would prevent a cold. It may help maintain a healthy immune system.
And the final product, good old-fashioned chicken noodle soup.
If we're analyzing the vitamins, there may be vitamins through the vegetables in the chicken soup.
The bottom line is that sicknesses can be unpredictable, whether you use natural remedies or not.
Unfortunately, a lot of times when we feel sick, a quick fix is what we're looking for, and it may not be possible, so we aim for symptom management.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Coming up, a day all to your own.
See how that was the case in Robbinsdale. And up next in sports, they struggled early, but now Wayzata's boys basketball team is on a roll. John Jacobson will be back in just a second. So much for a slow start to the season, but Wayzata has a pretty good challenge in their hands tonight.
They do start the late conference season, but when you go 6 weeks without a loss, you must be doing some things right. It was a disappointing start to the season. The Wayzata boys basketball team was a preseason top 10 ranked team. The Trojans lost their first 4 games, but since the December 14th overtime loss to Cooper, Wayzata has reeled off 11 straight wins. With injuries before the season started and some since the year began, the Trojans have learned to work with different lineups. Even with that, the Trojans know they had enough talent to be better than that 0-4 start showed.
We were ahead in every game, and we just couldn't quite get over the hump. And I think when we lost that last game against Cooper, I think we sat down, looked at some film, and I think our guys really took it to heart that they were better than what we were playing.
The first 4 games, we really weren't defending as a team, not playing a lot of help. And I think our effort's gone up a lot on defense, and also we just started making a lot more shots. And the cohesiveness on offense has started to come together.
Zach Robertson is Wayzata's leading scorer again this season, averaging 23.5 points per game. Starting tonight, Tuesday, the Trojans start their late conference schedule. It's a small but always tough 5-team league.
All 4 of the conference teams, or teams in our conference, are always good teams. So, just kind of got to look forward to those and have intensity in practice and everything, and just kind of prepare the best that we can.
Our job is to play the best basketball we can, and if that's good enough, we're gonna be happy and everything. But if it's not, that's all we can do. It is going to be one brutal 10-game stretch, I can tell you that.
Wayzata plays multi-time defending conference champion Hopkins tonight in its late conference opener. Friday, they are at Maple Grove, a game you can watch live on the web at 12sports.tv/live. While there's still quite a bit of season left, the Cooper girls basketball team is in position to do something that's never been done in the program: win a conference title. The Hawks lead the North Suburban with a perfect 9-0 conference mark, 1 game ahead of Benilde St. Margaret's. That's after surviving a big scare Friday, rallying from a 17-point halftime deficit to edge Irondale by 1 point. Winning the conference would be a big deal.
It would be huge because they never did it in history. We would be the first. We're feeling pretty good about it because we're undefeated in the conference so far, so we're just trying to keep that goal to be undefeated and not to underestimate any opponent.
I knew we'd be competitive in all the games, and then just to be, okay, these are games I think you can win, go out, do the things you're supposed to do. So for us, it's been, yeah, I mean, something where I hope the girls are you know, that they want to do it. We all kind of want to, it'd be nice to just have that recognition because we've been close. We've been runner-up a couple times. So I think it's important to the kids.
The Hawks have lost 5 games overall, but that's not such a bad thing. Their non-conference schedule's been strengthened the past couple of seasons, and losing to teams like Wayzata, Minnetonka, and De La Salle provided learning experiences.
It has been good. I know we had a really tough kind of schedule at the beginning of the year, but I think it did help us, and we needed that because that kind of shows us, you know, what we're going to be facing, you know, come the end of the season. So.
Cooper is at Columbia Heights tonight, Tuesday, and at St. Louis Park Friday. The combined Armstrong-Cooper girls hockey team is having a very good season. On this week's Sports Jam show here on Channel 12, Jay Wilcox profiles junior Emma Terrace. Here's a clip from that story.
While it's been a great season on the ice, it's more remarkable considering that Emma and her family have been dealing with a big health issue. Her mom, Pam, has cancer and has been making trips to the Mayo Clinic.
I have CLL leukemia, so it's chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and I was diagnosed with that 2 years ago. Then I just had a little flare-up with some melanoma that they think came from my CLL because my immune system is so low. So I had surgery on my foot and on my leg to have some lymph nodes out.
Just push myself to get better and not focus on everything that's been like going on in my life during like an hour of practice. You show up, you work as hard as you can, and then you leave. And like just have those hour of practices, an hour of games and stuff, just be hockey.
You can watch the rest of Emma's story, plus the top prep highlights from the past week on Sports Jam, and it airs 3 times daily through Wednesday here on Channel 12. And that's Look at Sports.
All right, thanks a lot, John. We'll be right back.
Finally, what do you get for 3 decades of service to your city?
You get a day named for you. The city of Robbinsdale celebrated Mayor Mike Holtz Day on Monday. There was a party Monday evening at Nona Rosa's. Mike Holtz was Robbinsdale's mayor for 16 years and was a city council member for 16 years before that. Holtz says it was a long time, actually half of his life, in fact, but he enjoyed every minute of his time on the council.
One thing that's come out clear is, you know, my philosophy of Robbinsdale was always that it was a small town within a big metropolitan area, and a lot of people tell me that that's why they've stayed in Robbinsdale so long.
Mayor Holtz says one of his toughest votes was closing the former Robbinsdale Municipal Liquor Store and on-sale bar. So enjoy his retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for him.
That does it for us. Thanks for joining us.